and see if you recognize the pattern. Do you think you know the answer? Now might be a good time to pause this video to see if you can come up with the solution on your own. Give yourself 10 or 20 seconds to see if you can come up with the answer. Did you come up with the answer? Let's continue to see how we can solve this challenge together. Tricky question, isn't it? But as usually, all tricky questions always have the answers. So take a look here. There are 4 shapes inside the square, and each shape has a unique color. Shapes stay in place. The only thing that changes is the black color for the shape. And what you can see is that the pattern of the black colors inside the squares, and it rotates counterclockwise. So, as usual, always look for patterns. You see that the flow among the shapes starts in the upper left corner and flow goes clockwise. But the rotation of the black color inside the squares goes counterclockwise. So, that's the tricky part of the question. But there's always the right answer. And as you can see, the right answer here is choice D. Let's recap. Always look for patterns. In this case, there are 4 shapes, and each shape has a unique color. Color black rotates inside the square, but same shapes stay in their original position, and the rotation inside the squares is done counterclockwise. So hopefully you've nailed this question and now know how to answer similar problems on the test. And here's the question you can try to solve on your own. Which of the following comes next in the sequence? You're presented with 4 different squares, and each square has another figure inside. And there are 4 possible choices: A, B, C, and D. Now might be a good time to pause this video and give yourself 10 to 15 seconds to see if you can come up with the solution. One tip for you: always look for patterns. If you figured out the answer, feel free to post the answer in the comment section of this video. Also, please make sure to post your rationale so I can give you my feedback. Thanks for participating, and good luck on this challenge. Let me share with you an interesting question which tests your reasoning skills. Determine which of the following is missing, and you're presented with the large square which could be logically broken into 3 by 3 small squares and 4 different choices. Choice A, B, C, and D. You have a missing square in the bottom left corner. Do you think you can figure out the answer? Now might be a good time to pause this video and give yourself 10 to 20 seconds to see if you can figure out the solution. Give yourself 10 to 20 seconds to see if you can figure out the solution. Give yourself ten to 20 seconds to see if you can figure out the solution. Do you have the answer? Let's continue to see how we can solve this puzzle and get to the correct solution together. We're presented with the very interesting challenge here, but challenge could be broken down into 2 patterns. The first pattern is the flow of small squares around the middle, and the second pattern is the flow of triangles inside the small squares. Pattern 1 rotates clockwise and starts in the upper left corner. You see that the pattern rotates around the cent clock, which is in the middle, and cent clock does not participate in the pattern. And pattern 2 is determined based on where triangle touches the lines of the small square. For example, the triangle in the upper left corner touches the lines of the small square in the center you see on the top, as well as down at the bottom. Next one touches on the left and down. The following one touches in the up and also in the center. And you can continue this pattern to determine the missing item, which is choice B. It was a tricky question, but I hope by now you know what to look for and how to answer similar problems on the test. But in case you need more questions or practice problems, please make sure to check out my ebook in the description section of this video.
Guys, is anyone who has problem or any doubt regarding to the lecture who's ended already, who just finished his lecture? If someone has question, you can raise your hand, then you can speak up. If there is no one has question, you can continue to the next lecture. Is anyone who has doubt? If yes, raise your hand. I will give you a mic, then you can speak up. Yes, to Isa. Yes, to Isa, you can speak.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Shalom. I don't know if everyone understands me.
Yes, we understand you.
Yeah. Okay. So, just for the first lecture, if it is possible that I can hear the two first.
I see Vivo Y93. You want to speak, but your mic is mute. So you can unmute, then speak up. Yes, Cedric, you can speak. Yes, Cedric, you can speak. Cedric, just unmute yourself, then speak. All right.
Hi, everybody. My name is... Hello?
Yes, Cedric, we can hear you.
It is not related to the lecture. I would like to know if I was verified.
Sorry?
I would like to know if my document was again verified.
So that is the difference for today's class. Just you will text me inbox, then I will check through a website, then I will tell you inbox, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay, let's go to the next lecture. After next lecture, we will come up to the question for Twisa regarding to the first two questions. No issues. I just remember this, and we will try to record the video, the class for yesterday. And this class will be streamed via YouTube live also, as there is some student who can't connect to Zoom. They will just watch the live class on YouTube. We will try it also from maybe from next class. Next class is on when maybe is on Saturday. Yes, next class. No, Saturday there is. I recheck the timetable, then I will tell you before the ending of session. Let's continue for another lecture. Then we'll come up with the question of Teresa. Thank you.
Hi everybody, my name is Richard McMunn from the numerical reasoning testing website howtobecome.com. That's me there on the bottom right hand corner with no hair. And in this video, I'm going to give you some brilliant numerical reasoning test tips, tricks and sample questions for you to try. Now, I would very much like you to take notes or at the very least pay attention, watch the video from beginning to end as I promise you. all of the following tips are going to be of a massive help to you. If you're required to undertake any kind of numerical reasoning test, this video is going to help you. So to start off with, I'm going to give you 7 fantastic numerical reasoning test tips, and then we're going to move on to some questions. Each and every one of them is of same importance. Okay, tip number 1. Before you go to the test, try and find out how many questions you're required to undertake under what time. So for example, let's say you're given 20 minutes during your numerical reasoning test to tackle 30 questions. Do a very quick calculation to work out on average how long you have per question. Now what happens is these numerical reasoning tests are required to be performed under time conditions, and the timing is relatively tight. So let's say you work out that you've got 20 or 30 seconds to answer each question, and you're taking a minute or 2 on each one, then you're going to quickly run out of time. But if you have a general idea of how long on average you can take per question, this will give you some confidence in passing the test. So if you're given 20 minutes to tackle 30 questions, as an example, there are 60 seconds in every minute. So do 60 multiplied by 20, which will give you 1200 divided by 30 as 30 questions, and that will give you 40 seconds on average per question. So that means you've got 40 seconds per question to work out. If you feel that you're going over time, move on to the next one, but make sure you leave a gap on the answer sheet. Okay, so that's tip number 1. Make sure you do a quick calculation to work out how long you have per question. And this is important also in the build up to your numerical reasoning test, because when you're practicing for the particular test, then you can spend no longer than 40 seconds per question. Okay, so give yourself 40 seconds per question in the build up so you know how long the time is. And have your timer next to you when you're practicing to work out and feel how long 40 seconds is. Tip number 2, follow this format. This is really important. Follow this format when answering numerical reasoning test questions that are based on information provided. And what I mean by that is when you have numerical tests with graphs or charts. Okay, follow this format. These 3 important steps. Number 1, read the title of the information presented. Okay, don't look and absorb the information presented. But let's say, for example, you get a question like this and you have a chart there. It's got marks out of 40, subject 30 and above. Don't read that information because it's confusing. And this is where most people go wrong. So the first part is to read the title of the information presented. And the title there is based on 100 students, marks in English, maths and science examinations. So I automatically straight away have a basic idea of the kind of questions I'm going to get asked. I'm not looking at that chart at all because it will confuse me. I don't need to know it at this stage. So that's the first part. The second part, number 2, now read the question. Again, you're not looking at the chart. You've only read the title of the information presented. And the next bit is to read the question. So the question here is question 1. What is the percentage of students who achieved marks of 20 or above in their English exam? Now, that question tells us that we only need to extract or dissect 2 parts of that chart. We don't need to worry about the rest of it at this particular point. So the final bit, number 3, is dissect only the information needed to find the answer. So what is the percentage of students who achieved marks in 20 or above in their English exam? So I'm just going to look at English, and then I'm going to look at in marks of 20 or above, and the correct answer is 52%. Okay, now a lot of people when tackling numerical reasoning tests will spend time looking at the chart, looking at the graph. You don't need to. Okay, so just to recap, the first part is to read the title of the information presented. The second part is to read the question. And the third part is to dissect the information needed only to reach your answer. Follow that and you will save bags of time during your numerical reasoning test. Okay, number 3, a quick one here. If you're running out of time during the test, do not guess. Now, lots and lots of different types of, not just numerical reasoning tests, but psychometric tests, mechanical comprehension, abstract reasoning, etc., are designed to make it really, really difficult for you to finish. A lot of assessors will mark you not just on your speed, but also your accuracy. Okay, so, and a lot of them as well, this is really important. Believe it or not, Some employers will deduct marks for incorrect answers. So if you're struggling to finish the test, and let's say you've got a minute left and you've still got, say, 6 questions to answer, don't wild guess because you can lose marks. It's better to get the ones that you have done correct than to just ruin it in the last few questions because you're guessing. Because a lot of these kind of numerical reasoning tests will be obviously under time conditions, but they'll give you multiple choice options in the answers. And you might think to yourself, well, I've got a 1 in 5 chance of getting it right. Don't go down that route. Okay, unless you know for sure you're not going to lose marks for incorrect answers. Number 4, this is a great tip. You're going to really like this one. Okay, learn this percentage.
Guys, before we continue for tip 4, I see Ruasande. Ruasande, you raised your hand. Do you want to speak something? Do you have any query or any question or any problem? If yes, unmute yourself and ask before we continue for tip number 4. Ruasande, can you hear me? You raised your hand. Maybe you have some query or some question. Can you speak up? Ruasande, can you hear me? All right, let's continue with today's lecture. Maybe if you have just doubt, just type the doubt in the chat box. We will read.
Calculation trick. It will save you, again, loads of time. Now, when you're undergoing numerical reasoning tests, there is a big chance that you will have to carry out some form of percentage calculations. Now, let's have a look at a way to calculate percentages really fast. Let's say you're required to calculate 30% of 400. Now, most people will go through 30 divided by 100 multiplied by 400, but there's a really quick way to do it even without a calculator. So what you do is you cancel out the zeros. So there's 1 0 on the 30%, so you cancel out 1 more on the right-hand side. And then all you do is do 3 multiplied by 40, which if you know your times table, then you can do it really quick. 3 multiplied by 4 is 12, add the 0 on the end, it's 120. If we do another one quickly, 70% of 600, all I do is cancel out the 2 zeros. I know 7 times 6 is 42 because I know my times table, therefore the answer is 420. Now, of course, you're going to say to me, yeah, but Richard, what about percentage calculations that are not multiples of 10? Well, it is just as simple, okay? And learn this one as well. Let's say we have a question or we have to work out 30% of 81. So what you would do, therefore, is cancel out the 0, but you would then move the decimal place 1 point to the left. So even though it doesn't show it, we know that the decimal place would be 81.0. So we move the decimal place from there to 1 point left. So it is then 3 multiplied by 8.1. And you can do that in your head. It's 24.3. So if I look at 30% of 8.1, I do that in my head, cancel out the 0, move the decimal place 1 point to the left, and I know the answer is 24.3. Let's do another one. 90% of 97. So we cancel out the 0. We then move the decimal place 1 point to the left. So it goes there. And the calculation is just 9 multiplied by 9.7, and the answer is 87.3. And that is a great way. Practice these, okay? Just calculate, write out a few calculation percentage questions yourself and then work them out using this process. And if you need to watch this video again, please feel free to do so. By the way, at some point during this video, I'm going to give you some free percentage calculations and other numerical calculations that you can go on, access on my website and try them out for free under timed conditions. Okay, tip number 5, because I've been talking about using the times table, please make sure you know it. Many of you will do, but you should be able to calculate. If I say to you, what's 8 times 9? You should quickly be able to go 72. What's 3 multiplied by 9? 27. You should know these off by heart really quickly. And the way to do it, if you're not too sure about your entire times table, then use a blank sheet like this. And again, I'll give you a copy of this in my website area very shortly. So you can just print this off and you can start practicing your times table. If you're going to pass your numerical reasoning test, knowing your times table in your head off by heart is really important. So that's tip number 5. Tip number 6, let's say you skip a question. Leave a space on the marking sheet, okay? Really important. The majority of Psychometric test questions and numerical test questions will require you to do them online. But again, if you skip a question, make sure you leave a space on the marking sheet, because if you've got time later on, you can come back. But if you don't leave a space, then all of the preceding questions or answers are going to be wrong. Number 7, calculators. Now, if you are required to use a calculator, make sure you know how to use one. Most people think they know how to use one, but they don't. But make sure you know how to use a calculator. And these are the things that you're going to look out for on the basic calculator functions. Because if you look at a calculator, the majority have all of this: MC, M plus, M minus, MR, AC. And if you're honest with yourself, do you know what these mean? These are the basic functions that you should learn. Very, very simple, but confusing to a lot of people. For example, AC is all clear, so you clear absolutely everything on it. For example, CE is clear entry, so you clear the previous entry, but the rest of them prior to that will still be live. X2, which is squared. And also, don't forget the percentage button. If you're required to do percentages and you have the option to use a calculator, make sure you know how to use it. Really, really important. And practice using a calculator before you go to the numerical reasoning test. Now, if you contact the test center or the employer, ask the question, are we going to be allowed to use calculators, yes or no? And if they say yes, what kind of calculator are you required to use so you can practice with one? So practice is really important for you getting the highest scores possible in your numerical reasoning test. And what I want to do is I'm going to give you 7 sample questions. I want you to work through these now without the use of a calculator, please. Okay, so do them. And I want you, please, to put your answers to each question in the comment section below. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put them on the screen. I'm going to give you 7 numerical reasoning test questions. You've got 12 seconds to answer each one that follows. So like I say, don't use a calculator. You've got 12 seconds. I'll put a timer on each page to show you how long you've got left. So work quickly, treat it as a proper test, and then I'm going to give you some more sample numerical reasoning test questions for you to try in your own time. Question number 1. What is 9/11 of 88? And there's a timer going down on the left. 9/11 of 88. You've got A, B, C, D, or E as your options. Okay, don't forget to put your answer in the comment section below. Question number 2. Calculate 4.99 plus 19.09. Choose from A, B, C, D, or E. There's a timer going down. Moving on to numerical reasoning test number 3. Calculate 6.47 minus 3.29. A, B, C, D, or E. Moving on to question number 4. If you count from 1 to 100, how many numbers containing the number 4 will you pass on the way? A, B, C, D, or E. So how many number 4s will you pass along the way? Question number 5. What is 48% of 900? A, B, C, D, or E. Question number 6. What is 1,888 divided by 4? A, B, C, D, or E. Question number 7. On a school trip, at least 1 teacher is needed for every 8 students. Work out the minimum number of teachers needed for 138 students, A, B, C, or D. Okay, well done guys. Don't forget to put your answer to each question in the comment section below and I'll mark them for you. Now, to get more numerical reasoning test questions, simply click the link below this video to get more free practice tests. You can go through to my website, get loads of free practice test questions on numerical reasoning assessment to help you prepare. I love creating these videos for you, everybody. I would very much appreciate it if you gave the video a thumbs up. Say hi in the comments section below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'm making these kind of videos every week, so you'll get an email notifying you as soon as I make one. Thank you very much for watching, guys. And I wish you all the very best in your pursuit for passing your numerical reasoning test.
All right, guys. Thank you for joining and thank you for listening each and everything. I will remain around 7 minutes for this class, and I hope everything's clear. I wanted to share one thing. There is 4 tips the first lecture talks about. I notify you to note it down. I hope each and everybody notice it down. That is the tips to help you to study or how to you can prepare your exam. You guys, if we say that note these things means that it is useful, it means that the exam, you can't go in exam without making any practice. And this class is not enough to let you guys pass exam. Means that after this exam, try to read PDFs, try to go to the website, YouTube, each and everywhere where you can find these questions. And we always share the same in a group. We are doing about the PDFs. We are going to share more PDFs in a group. But we're supposed to share the PDFs in the group, but we will share the PDF in here in a Zoom meeting, because there is some applicants, they are in a group, but they don't want to attend this online meetings or this class. So we will share some PDF via Zoom, and other PDF we will share the PDF via also group. Means that maybe we will use Zoom, or maybe we will use a group. It will depend. So thank you for today's class, and